Live from the Jersey Shore to the world. Get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Take the show wherever you go. Download the free Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin, 6:07 Tuesday, November 29, 52 degrees, getting up to 61 today and raining. WOBMAM 1160, 1310 News Talk Radio. Streaming live on the Radio Pup app and WOBMAM.com, 732-505-1160 to join the conversation. We are now joined on the line by Holly Suzanne Rader. Although, Holly, is that the name we're calling you today? As I understand, congratulations are in order after this weekend?
Oh, yes, thank you. I'm Mrs. Bednar.
Oh, no. So, wait, so are you you're not going to change your artist name, though, right?
No, that I've been Holly Suzanne Rader for too long now, so I'm going to stick with that.
Now,
it works for me.
Now, does John? Let me ask you, because I'm a man, and so I think that I could speak with some degree of expertise on the matter. So the question is, when you and John are having that discussion, your new husband, and saying, "Hey, listen, so about the name Bednar." Right? Like, does he have any reservation about the fact that you're like, yeah, no, I'm going to stick with Rader? How do you feel about that? Like, was he okay with that?
He was actually okay with it because he knows that I didn't even change it. This is my second marriage, so I never changed it for the first one. And we actually made a joke. I said, I think I'm just going to change my last name to Radnar. I think that has a good ring to it.
Oh,
and
nice.
I'm just kidding. No, I've had a lot of people ask me, and I feel bad because, it's kind of the traditional thing to do. But I like Rader. It's been working for me for 30 years now. And
well, and the sense I get is you're not exactly a traditional girl, right? Would that be a fair assessment?
It's pretty fair. I grew up in a very traditional Southern setting, but my parents kind of let me do my own thing, and they encouraged my weirdness and my my free spirit. So no one's ever held me down and told me I had to do anything a certain way, and I appreciate that of them because in the South it's a very traditional thing, like I said.
Right. And so as a result, you fell in with kind of a bad group because you fell in we know you fell in with Robert Smith and The Cure and then Susie and the Banshees, right?
Yeah, I went goth in the Bible Belt, which is weird.
Yeah, is this how you ended up no longer in the Bible Belt? Is that it?
Yeah, my curiosity got the better of me, and I ended up following my dreams and my aspirations to New Jersey.
Right. Well, everybody, as somebody born and bred in New Jersey, I find that this just reiterates or kind of reaffirms my earlier statement that you're not like a normal girl because you ended up in New Jersey. You ended up in your hopes and dreams ending up in New Jersey.
Yes. And I didn't know anything about New Jersey when I moved here 12 years ago. I followed a guy up here and got married and had a baby, and I was like, wait a minute. What happened to my art? I was, hoping that I moved to Jersey and also, I'm close to the art capital of the world, so that was really exciting. And I had my eyes set on New York City, and but I ended up being kind of a little bit of a Jersey girl now. And I fell in love with the shore area and moved to Long Branch. I live near the ocean, and me and my son are so happy here. And it's been quite a journey.
Cool. So why don't you tell our listeners, kind of give them a broad stroke, if I can use a painting term, of kind of how you would characterize your art?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I would call it Hollywood, glamorous street art. It's a combination of portraiture and embellishment. I use a lot of crystals and gold leaf and silver leaf. I take old pictures from old actresses from the silent film era and the Gilded Age and bring them into a modern light with bright colors of neon and drips. And I use magazine clippings. I just collage on top of their clothes, and it's just kind of like I'm living out my fashion fantasies, but I'm using imagery from the past because I feel like I'm kind of an old soul and romantic, and I just like that whole era that's gone by,
Right. Now, if I were to look in an art book, right, and I was looking at categories of art, would I find the category Hollywood glamorous street art? Because I'm going to go out on a limb and say I have never heard that term before when somebody describing themselves. Did you coin that, or is that like a thing?
I don't know. I think it's the art world now it's so up in the air. There's so many different types of art now after, all the big art movements have kind of happened, and now everybody's kind of like looking to, in a way you could say it's pop art. That was the movement where people were using common imagery, celebrities, Andy Warhol. But, my generation of artists, especially female artists, we're bringing back. Maybe I'm just doing it by myself. I don't think so. I just march to my own drum,
right. Where do you think you got? Where do you think you got the inspiration of the really kind of the 1920s woman? Because I see it in much of your painting that's really kind of where your focus is. But why do you think the kind of the inspiration from that era and that kind of subject matter?
Well, I watch a lot of old movies. I probably watch more old movies than I do anything modern. I don't find anything modern too interesting. I think, when you watch Audrey Hepburn or, I grew up watching Gone with the Wind over and over again. And I just sort of fell in love with that old glamour, the time before we had technology and selfies and all this self-obsessed, kind of thing. And back then women really had to work hard to look good, and they had to, take that moment to really pose for the camera. And there weren't any, touch-ups I guess there were, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that era is an old glamour that's kind of gone. And even in models today and actresses, it's just not the same. And like I said, I'm an old soul, and I believe in that I like things that are kind of gone. And I don't know. I'm trying to bottle it up somehow.
Right. Well, I appreciate that, and you like things that are gone, and that's ironic because I was noting one of your paintings was of Hillary Clinton, so I think that was appropriate in this particular case. So there you go.
No, that's not
sorry.
Mine. It's not mine. I know who you're talking about. That's what, I can't think of who that artist is, but that's on my Instagram, and I had my son pose in front of it because we had just voted that day and we were proud, and I was like, wow, this painting's kind of appropriate. It's a pop art. But, I've never painted or used imagery or photographs of really of modern women or women of this era, even though I love them and I respect them. And there's so many people like, why don't you do one of this person or that? I was like, well, I don't know. I'm looking for a certain look in what I call a languor, where they have this look in their face that really, it speaks to me. I know it when I see the image, and I'm like, that's going to be my painting. And sometimes I don't really even, like some of the actresses I've portrayed aren't exactly, I wouldn't have liked them in life. I didn't like, I've heard the history behind them, and they're like, oh, they're too much of a diva, but man, they made their mark, so I don't always respect their views, but I do like the way they looked, and that's it. That's the one. So. Well,
it's funny. The only one, if you're bringing up the only one I could think of that comes to the top of my head, that kind of fits in with what I see a lot of your art is like a Gwen Stefani. And I'm not talking. I'm talking like No Doubt days, not like the new remade like Gwen Stefani. But that's probably that's kind of the look of a lot of what your paintings kind of portray.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're up against a break, but when we come back, can we talk about? I want to talk about how you've kind of evolved or kind of morphed into now doing sculpture and also working with mixed media. Can we talk about that when we get back?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Holly Suzanne Rader. Well, we're still working on the last name right now, but we're going to go with Holly Suzanne Rader for now. Artist, local artist, Jersey Shore. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. Back after this.
Everything you need to know about the Jersey Shore. This is Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310.
Hey, welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin, 621. We are on the line with Holly Suzanne Rader. She is a local artist living currently at the Jersey Shore in Long Branch, and with her work to be seen in Red Bank. Talk to me about how you have kind of evolved, if that's the word you would use, into mixed media, sculpting, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I guess I've always been very interested in fashion and not very good on the sewing machine. So I decided to make dresses out of something I did know how to work with and work with well, which is paper. And I created this paper mache. The first dress that I ever made was paper mache, and it was a wedding dress. And I put it out. I had a show in Freehold. A friend of mine and we made our own gallery and decided to have a show. And I did a show called About the Dress and made this gigantic wedding dress. And at the time I was going through a divorce. It was kind of therapeutic for me. So I made this big white wedding dress and I put it out in front of City Hall kind of on display. It was really pretty actually. And people walk by and they're like, oh my gosh, what is that? And it was covered in these little petals that say, he loves me not. And it just kind of evolved from there, and that was such a neat piece, and it kind of snowballed from that. And so I feel like my dress sculptures are a self-portrait of myself because I actually use my own body to form the mold for them. And I'm kind of living out my fashion fantasies through them. Each one I do, they all become even more and more interesting. I just made one with all Barbie shoes. It's like 4,000 Barbie shoes,
Wait, you mean like Barbie doll shoes?
Yeah, I ordered 4,000 Barbie shoes from China. This was actually my husband's idea. He's like, why don't you make a dress out of Barbie shoes? I'm like, oh my God, yes. So I ordered all these Barbie shoes and, created a little cocktail dress out of them. And that's going to be in the show. So I have students I teach girls the same class how to make a dress on themselves out of paper. And they're all coming. They're excited to see this dress and all the other ones that I made too. I have several actually. And
I'd like to understand the kind of the lead up to where your husband would say, "How about a dress made out of Barbie shoes?" Because that's not something that you're brushing your teeth in the morning next to each other, and he's like, "Hey, you know what? By the way, hon, I was just thinking about it. Have you considered making a dress out of Barbie shoes?"
I know. He's full of great ideas. It's amazing because he's not at all effeminate. He's very masculine. But I think he really enjoys my craziness and he feeds it, and he's like, he likes to see my gears grind and he loves to see my creative process. And we're just hanging out on my couch one afternoon and he's like, I don't know how it came up. I was talking about Barbies and how much I play with Barbies like most
Gotcha.
girls.
Okay, well that's better then. I just thought this was like a random idea, like it's 3 a.m. and he's like, Hun, listen, I was just thinking about it. How about a dress made out of Barbie shoes?
God, I got it.
Yeah, and that's coming from a guy. It's a little bit weird. I mean, if you said, listen, I'd like you to make, a dress out of, Ken pants, then I'd be okay with that because, I played with Ken.
That's a good idea.
Maybe I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that out loud.
Yeah.
Anyway, when we come back, I want you to talk about where we're able to see your shows, what's coming up, what's on the agenda, and then we're going to give you your magic wand, which is your ability to wave your wand and make an impact on the world or make something happen, one time, no repercussions. Is that okay?
Yes.
Cool. Holly Suzanne Rader, local artist. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. Back after this.
Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Live from the Bob Levy Broadcast Center overlooking the Toms River. It's time to get up, get out, do something. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. Be a part of the show. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin, 632, Tuesday, November 29th, 52 degrees, getting up to 61 today, and rainy. WOBM AM 1160, 1310, News Talk Radio, streaming live on the Radio Pup app at WOBMAM.com, 732-505-1160 to join the conversation. We are joined on the line by Suzanne Rader. She is an artist locally who's been featured in a number of publications and has showed all over the place, et cetera, et cetera. So where are we able to see you in the not-too-distant future, Holly?
Well, this weekend, December 3rd, Saturday at 6 p.m., I'm going to have my solo exhibition at Detour Gallery, and I'm very excited. And also, simultaneously, if you're in Miami, I'm going to be at the Spectrum Show, which is part of Art Basel. So I've got two things going on this weekend, which are pretty big, and I'm very excited about them.
Wait. So what? Where is the first one?
The first one is at Detour Gallery. That's in Red Bank.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And it's on Clay Street. It's right behind Armani and Tiffany's and all that. So it's a really cool gallery. Can't miss it. It has a great big sculpture on top and murals on the side.
Okay, cool. And then you're in Miami at another show.
Yes, I have work. I have 6 pieces there as a part of Detour Gallery's representation at the Spectrum Show. So I'm part of the group show there.
Cool.
So it's, yeah.
So where are you going to be?
I'm going to be in Red Bank.
Well, so again, look, I don't mean to question you at every turn here, but if given the choice between Red Bank in December and Miami, I'm pretty sure I know where I'm picking. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there for you.
I know. I'd love to see some warm weather, and I love Miami, but my heart's in Red Bank.
Yeah, couldn't that have been like a honeymoon type thing? Like, hey, why don't we go to Miami? That would have been great, right?
No time for a honeymoon.
Oh, there's always time for a honeymoon. All right. It's that time where we give you the magic wand, the pixie dust, the fairy dust, the ability just to wiggle your nose and make something happen. Suzanne Rader, painter, sculptor, mixed media artist. Just, you name it, you're all about it. So what are you doing with that magic wand?
I would make art education in the public schools as cool and as involved as it was when I was a kid. I think I really benefited from it. I don't know. I want to see that turn around. I think that art education, music education, the fine arts, any kind of performing arts should have a very upfront, involved seat in the education system today.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. I'm an educator. I teach fashion to young girls. I teach in Canvas Studio Art in Rumson. I teach at Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Asbury Park. And this winter, I'm going to start teaching in the Upper West Side of Manhattan at the Art Studio in New York. So it's great because I get to create my own classes, which is basically fashion and art and how to combine those two things. But it all came from, my experience as a kid taking art classes. They really changed me, and I just hope and wish that we made that important again.
Yeah. Well, listen, we often say on this show, and look, obviously, I what I do in my regular job, we spend a lot of time talking about the fact that we've eliminated arts education from our schools, and there is a common misconception that art class is a waste insofar as how many of our youth become artists, right? I mean, you're the exception rather than the rule. But
right.
What we do talk about is that arts education breeds creativity, allows children to express themselves in different ways, and although most of these kids won't become artists or actors or actresses or whatever. They will use those creative skills in whatever endeavor they choose for the rest of their lives.
It is so important for their mind and their creative and all that. It helps with all those other things, and it's a release for them. They need it. You can't do math all day. You can't work on vocabulary all day. It's really they need that other part of their brain to get exercise and a little escape from their kids' schedules are hectic these days. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it. So
yeah,
let them sit down with a crayon or a marker. Let them have a break.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Holly, why don't you tell folks if they want to, aside from your, Miami this weekend and Red Bank this weekend, why don't you tell folks where they could find you, especially on social media, websites, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Snapchat, Tinder, whatever you got.
Well, I just do Facebook and Instagram. So I'm Holly Suzanne Rader on Facebook, and I'm Holly Suze Art on Instagram. So it's those are the only two I can manage. So that's it. Everything's on there, and it's more up to date than my website, which is hollysuzannerader.com. But I do more on Instagram and Facebook, definitely.
Very cool. All right. Well, Holly, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and it's been interesting. I mean, we learned about making dresses out of Barbie shoes. We learned about inspiration from 1920s women. We learned that you have never painted Hillary Clinton, and of course, we learned of the therapeutic abilities of creating a paper mache wedding dress.
Yes.
Right?
Good. Yes.
Absolutely.
Therapy.
Thank you so much again, and you have a great holiday, okay?
Thanks for having me on. You too.
All right, cool. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin, back with more right after this.